One player will be included, should be Renato Sanchez, but they are still discussing. But PSG are convinced that by next week, João Neves will join them. Here we are, guys. Welcome back here on the channel. First of all, thank you as always for joining me. We will have some things to say to answer some of your questions. I see many Roma fans. Roma and Juventus are closing in on the deal for Mathias Soulé. So everything is going absolutely well between Roma and Juventus. For Mathias Soulé, just activating the add-ons, and we will say something also on Artem Dovbyk, because another big saga of the day, another big saga of the week is on Artem Dovbyk. So we will also mention Dovbyk in some minutes. I saw a question on Manchester United, my friend. In some minutes, we will try to answer also your questions on Manchester United. For example, I see many questions on Ugarte. I can tell you the Ugarte situation is still not changed. Contacts on daily basis between Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain for Ugarte, but the agreement with the player is done. Still waiting between clubs. Ciao news. Chops, I can tell you that the interest of Newcastle is there since June. So they have a genuine interest in Malik Thiaw. But at the moment, Milan have still not received an official proposal. So interest is true, but at the moment, still waiting for something concrete in terms of bid or proposal. Then, my friend, the Jurgen Klopp legend. On Liverpool, I told you I don't want to come here and throw names. So as soon as I will have something, I will let you know. Then I see Dragos asking about Desiree Doué and Chelsea, and I see another guy, CFC Oreo, asking about Chelsea updates. On Chelsea, I can tell you that for Jorgensen, the goalkeeper, there is still no big distance between Chelsea and Villarreal. Probably will go to next week, but the negotiation is advancing well. Chelsea yesterday offered 20 million euros. From what I'm told, Villarreal want around 25. The player wants to go to Chelsea, and so now Chelsea are working to close the deal for Jorgensen, but it's a really small gap. So big optimism to get it done. On Desiree Doué, my friend, the only story I know is between Bayern and PSG. Nothing has been decided. Desiree Doué didn't decide today, despite the reports, and will not decide tonight. So we will see from tomorrow what Desiree Doué decides to do. PSG are still pushing, Bayern are still pushing. Questions on Chiesa? At the moment, my friend, I can guarantee to you that Chiesa has not decided anything, despite all the rumors. Why Xavi Simons decides Leipzig over Bayern? I gave you the exclusive news on Leipzig leading the race for Xavi Simons. They are leading the race for Xavi Simons. In some minutes, I want to tell you something also on Dani, Olmo and all the others. So I say sorry to the power chats, but I will take some time to update you on some situations, and then I will reply to your questions. I see Chelsea 16 asking about Chelsea and Osimhen. No, my friend, at the moment, I'm not aware of anything fresh between Chelsea and Osimhen. The situation of Victor Osimhen, just to clarify, so I say two things on PSG. The first thing I wanted to say is that PSG are closing in on the deal for João Neves. So João Neves will be a Paris Saint-Germain player. I can say that it's just a matter of time, of days to close the deal, but it's really almost imminent between Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica. Today they had a new round of talks, was very positive, 70 million euros. One player will be included, should be Renato Sanchez, but they are still discussing. But PSG are convinced that by next week, João Neves will join them. He already agreed on the contract, very enthusiastic about the project of Luis Campos, with an important coach like Luis Enrique, who is very famous for the excellent quality he brings to his players, especially to midfielders. And so for João Neves, is absolutely a priority to go to PSG, and he will go to PSG. They are working to close the deal in the next days, but the verbal base of agreement is almost there. And then on PSG and Victor Osimhen, what I wanted to say is that Victor Osimhen, first of all, wants to leave. So the intention of Osimhen remains to leave Napoli, and the intention of Napoli remains to sign Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. So this is the plan. What happens with Osimhen? At the moment, Paris Saint-Germain have no intention to accept the first two conditions that Napoli discussed with PSG last week, so almost 7 days ago. Napoli asked for Kang Jin-Lee to be part of the deal. PSG said no. Then Napoli asked also for the possibility to pay the release clause, and PSG said no. So if the price drops, we can still consider PSG as an option, because Victor Osimhen would love to go to PSG, and Victor Osimhen has given his green light to Paris Saint-Germain already 10 days ago. So PSG remain an option, but the price has to drop. So this is the point. Then, guys, let me tell you something also on... Well, tonight there are many things. I will mention also Vitor Roque. I will mention Dani, Olmo, Merino. I have some things to tell you. But let me start on Vitor Roque. I will tell you in a minute. But let me start with a story on Artem Dovbyk, because we have to update on Artem Dovbyk. So what's going on for Artem Dovbyk? I have just tweeted, but for Artem Dovbyk, Atletico Madrid had an agreement in principle, a verbal agreement in principle, with Girona a few days ago. The agreement was almost there, just about the final small things, and then they were hoping to close the deal, but no agreement between Atletico Madrid and Dovbyk on some important details, contract, commission, so some things between the agent of Dovbyk and Atletico Madrid. What happened in the last 24 hours is that Roma, since yesterday night, started entering the deal, trying to hijack the deal. And in the last 24 hours, Roma made a good progress on player side, because what I hear is that Artem Dovbyk is giving initial green light to Roma move. So he's open to Roma move and tempted by the project. Now, Atletico Madrid are still there, but in standby, still not closing the deal. Roma are entering strong, and now they will start negotiating with Girona. So Roma started on player side, but now they have to negotiate with Girona. The player is tempted also because of the manager. Daniele De Rossi, Roma manager, is calling Artem Dovbyk every day, to make every minute to make this deal happen. Every day, not because it started today, but really almost every minute, every hour, sending messages, calling the player. So De Rossi is trying his best. So Roma are really trying to hijack the deal for Artem Dovbyk. The player is keen on the move. Now depends on the club-to-club negotiation. Roma, Girona, Atletico are still there, but still not closing the deal. So it depends on the next steps between Atletico, Roma, and Girona, but Roma are there. Roma are trying. This is absolutely something concrete. Then let me reply the questions on Vitor Roque. So guys, what I wanted to tell you on Vitor Roque, and this is an important update, is that the reports from Saudi tonight are, let me say, almost correct. So what I know, at least this is my information, is that Al Hilal have made contact with Barcelona and with the camp of Vitor Roque. So Al Hilal are prepared to start a negotiation with Barca. It's not correct to say that there is already an agreement done between Al Hilal and Barca today, but there are contacts ongoing between Al Hilal and Barca because Al Hilal are really interested in Vitor Roque. Remind that the new regulation in Saudi allows the club to sign 2 players under 21, so it's really important to have talents into the squad, and now Al Hilal are trying to go for Vitor Roque. This story could be important for Barca on financial fair play, because obviously will help Barcelona a lot for their movements, but depends on Vitor. Vitor Roque had the possibility 1 year ago to go to Tottenham, to go to Man United, to go to Italian clubs. He had many possibilities. He decided to go to Barcelona. Now, 1 year later, he has to decide whether he wants to go to Saudi Arabia or he wants to continue in Europe. So depends on the player, depends on his agent, depends on his camp. But the interest of Al Hilal is something true. Let's see if it's going to become something close or concrete. This is the story for Vitor Roque. For Barcelona, I wanted to say something on all the reports we are having, guys, on Dani Olmo. Because on Dani Olmo, we are having many stories every day, many reports. Today, I received many messages from you on my social media about Manchester City bid for Dani Olmo. Guys, I keep repeating every week, Manchester City are not negotiating for Dani Olmo. Manchester City are not in talks for Dani Olmo. At the moment, there is nothing. The appreciation of Man City for Dani Olmo is not a news of today or this summer. Man City appreciated Dani Olmo since 2-3 years ago. He's always been appreciated. But as of today, they are not negotiating for Dani Olmo. The most concrete possibilities for Dani Olmo are 2. One possibility is Barcelona, and the other possibility is Bayern. For Bayern, it really depends on what's going to happen with 2 cases. The first case is Xavi Simons, but Xavi Simons, let me repeat again, Leipzig are confident, Leipzig are close, Leipzig are favorites to land Xavi Simons on loan from PSG. So it looks like Leipzig for Xavi Simons. And then Désiré Doué. Bayern are in the fight with Paris Saint-Germain for Désiré Doué. It depends on the player. So this could be also very important to understand the future of Dani Olmo. And this is the case for Bayern, because Bayern are still interested in, still in contact for Dani Olmo, but still not presenting an official bid to Leipzig. And then there is Barcelona. Guys, on Barcelona, what I'm hearing is that nothing will be decided with Dani Olmo this week. And I take this opportunity also to talk quickly, because I have no substantial update. I don't want to sell you fake news or drinks. But I take the time also to mention Nico Williams. Keep repeating what I always told you. Barcelona obsession and Barcelona dream target and Barcelona number 1, 2, and 3 is Nico Williams. Barcelona will not close any other deal until they have guarantee of what happens with Nico Williams. This is the position of the club. They are working on Nico Williams, and they are waiting for Nico Williams to give the green light, and they are waiting for La Liga to give the green light to proceed with this deal. So these are the steps. Barcelona are waiting for Nico final call and for La Liga to approve. But Nico is their obsession. As soon as they know what happens with Nico Williams, Barcelona will start thinking about the other topics. Meanwhile, obviously, Barcelona are having contacts with agents, and they are having regular contacts with the agents of Dani Olmo. And I can tell you two things. The first one is that the feeling at Barca is that Dani Olmo is giving priority to them. So that Dani Olmo could be really attracted by the possibility to go to Barcelona. So Barca are quite confident on that, but I'm not saying that Dani Olmo is only going to Barcelona, because there is still a possibility with Bayern, and there is still some possibility in Premier League in case some club, big club, obviously in England, could complete some outgoing. So Dani Olmo is really tempted by Barcelona. This is Barca feeling, but before closing any deal with Leipzig, before making any crucial and big and important proposal, Barca know that first step is Nico Williams, and second step is La Liga. So that's the case for Dani Olmo. The contacts will continue, but first point, nothing is happening final on Dani Olmo this week. I can guarantee that. Nothing is happening, nothing is being closed, no bid. So forget about Dani Olmo for this week. Next week, there will be more conversations, and we will understand what Barca want to do, what Bayern want to do, and also what Leipzig want to do in this story, because payment terms and details of the bids are absolutely crucial point. But again, Barca will not close any other deal until they know what happens with Nico. Barca are giving total priority to Nico. Barca feel that Dani Olmo could be open to the move. But another important point, and I close this page, is on the financial fair play. Because at the moment, Barca believe that to sign both Nico and Dani Olmo could be important to complete an important outgoing. And so, the case of Vitor Roque, we will see what's going to happen. But this is the feeling as of tonight. Barca are fully focused on Nico Williams. That's their idea. That's their priority. So let's wait for Nico, guys. I'm not coming here telling you things that are not realistic. The reality tonight is that Barca are waiting for Nico to take his phone and tell them, okay, I'm coming. No, I'm not coming. The final answer. Because Barca believe that on the contract point, they did their best. Barca believe that on the project point, they presented everything they can. And so that's the situation for Nico and Dani Olmo. Then for Barca, I wanted to add that Sergio Roberto is 100% leaving. I see some questions in the chat. He's leaving. He's going. So it's over between Barcelona and Sergio Roberto. Today also, Hansi Flick was very strong on that point. I wanted to say something also on Arsenal, because on Arsenal, I can tell you that now Arsenal are formally completing the deal for Calafiori. It's done. Here we go. So just waiting for the formal steps. The player will be in London, medical test, first part in London. Then he will complete everything in the US, so time for formal steps. But on Arsenal, I wanted to tell you that after Calafiori, the focus will be on midfield. So obviously for Arsenal, it's important to complete some outgoing in the midfield, as well as something in the defense. So we know that Emile Smith-Rowe is close to joining Fulham, that they are working on a deal for Nketiah Olympique Marseille. So Arsenal are working on several outgoings. Also, Reece Nelson, exclusive news to Leicester City, is a possibility. So negotiations are ongoing. But Arsenal want to add one more midfielder this summer, and I can tell you that Mikel Merino remains a strong option in their list. They had contacts on player side. They've still not presented any proposal to Real Sociedad. Why? Because Arsenal like to work like this, deal by deal. So now it's about closing Calafiori, and then they will start concrete negotiations for the midfielder. So Merino remains a name in the list. Again, still no official bid, still no concrete negotiation, but Merino is a player appreciated by Mikel Arteta, appreciated by the staff, and remains an option. Not the only one, but still a strong option, with Arsenal expected to start conversations with Real Sociedad for Mikel Merino. I see many questions on Fabian Ruiz, but at the moment, guys, what I can guarantee is that no formal operation has started for Fabian Ruiz. This, at the moment, is the version of all parties involved, Arsenal, PSG, and player side. At the moment, still nothing concrete in terms of negotiations. Then, we know that PSG are going to sign João Neves. This is, again, a fantastic signing, in my opinion, for Paris Saint-Germain. Wonderful talent. And so we will see what Paris Saint-Germain will decide to do for the midfielders in the next days. As of today, still nothing imminent for Fabian Ruiz. Olympique Marseille news, my friend, I already gave you many news. Olympique Marseille will hope to close the deal for Valentin Carboni this weekend. Olympique Marseille made an important proposal for Valentin Carboni. The proposal is a loan deal with buy option clause, 36 million euros, with buyback clause for Inter, 40 million euros. Olympique Marseille are also covering the salary. So they hope for the final green light over the weekend and then to sign Valentin Carboni. Then on Jean-Claire Todibo, now we expect Juventus to bid. They sold Den Huijsen to Bournemouth today for 18 million euros. I say 18 because it's 15 plus 3, but it's almost guaranteed 3 million. So Juventus will receive 18 million euros for Den Huijsen, and they will bid for Todibo, and I expect them next week to start negotiations with Atalanta for Cop Miners. Any news on Manchester City signing? My friend, not yet on Man City signing. On the Man City at the moment, the situation is still nothing close or imminent. On Adeyemi, it was a news from yesterday night, an important news from yesterday night, and I keep saying that Juventus started concrete negotiations with Adeyemi on the contract. They presented the contract proposal to Adeyemi, to his father, to his agent. They were all together in Juventus pre-season camp. Now, it really depends on what happens between Adeyemi and Juventus on the contract agreement, because the negotiation is ongoing, but Juventus are optimistic, and then important to see what's going to happen between also Juventus and Borussia Dortmund, because as of now, there is still no official proposal from Juventus to Borussia Dortmund. So this is another crucial part of the story. Then let me check my phone just a second, as I see some messages. On Zubimendi, I see many questions, guys, but for Zubimendi, it's important to remind you that Zubimendi has already disclosed 60 million euros. It's not easy to sign Zubimendi. Who wants to sign Zubimendi has to put that money on the table. And at the moment, still no club putting that money on the table for Zubimendi. So that is the story, that is the case at the moment. Then any more news on John Duran? On John Duran, today, West Ham made a proposal. They made an important proposal because it was 32 million pounds plus Orford, the talented player, plus a sell-on clause, but the answer was again no from Aston Villa tonight. So negotiation will continue, and we will see if they will be able to reach an agreement. Then, guys, I think we are almost done. I see many questions on Manchester United, but guys, still nothing substantial to say. So Man United keep working on many things. The situation of the right back. For the right back, the important part is to sell Wan-Bissaka. This is absolutely crucial for Man United to bring in a new right back. Guys, thank you for all your questions. I will keep you posted on all the rest, and see you soon.